this is where we engage the social media community, our Facebook groups, and we poll them, say, hey, what are the questions you have? And we say, hey, we got somebody come and talk about finance. What are your finance questions? And there's literally hundreds of them. So I'm going to pull two out that I think we talked about a lot of this in the episode, but there's two in here that we get often. One is kind of going to be a curveball because it's a really weird thing, and I don't know that it exists in other types of construction as much as it does in Barndos, and it's this. There are these self-construct ideas, and then there's this thing called a shell. And a shell ultimately is we roll up, we build the exterior of the home and maybe the rough framing of the interior, and then we're done. And so a lot of people are like, get me the shell, I'll finish the rest.
Right.
And so the question is I need financing for this. So do you know of any programs where they could come in and obtain financing for that type of construction?
Yeah. So on our construction loan, we can have up to 4 contractors on that job. Okay. So Barndo could come in, build the shell, and then if that client or that borrower gets me, even if it's another friend GC that wants to give them some family deal to finish out the project for a cheaper price, I can get that builder registered and approved, and they can use them. The no bank likes a self-build, okay? Because people who don't know how to build shouldn't be building, okay? That's a fact. And it's a risky loan to begin with because there's so many different facets to it. No bank likes a self-builder, okay? Even if they're in the industry, okay? They just don't. And so we can have up to 4. So they could hire you guys to come in, do the shell, and they can get up to 3 additional subs that I can have kind of on paper as builders to finish out that project.
So in theory, they play general contractor and they hire the different phases of construction.
Yeah, because obviously there's a lot more than just 3.
Now, if they were to come in and do this, what other types of hurdles might exist in qualifying 4 separate contractors for the loan?
Well, so we already have the Barndo company approved and registered with Prime Lending, okay? Each different builder or sub that I have to get approved comes down to, checking references, getting some financial information, and just doing some due diligence on that builder and make sure that they're a good builder, not like month-to-month cash flow, okay? And we did that on Barndo. And so there's a little bit of extra legwork to get multiple builders approved on one job. Once they're approved for 12 months, okay? And then we just update insurance and different things as they expire. So I think that really would be the only hurdle, would be just the time frame to get additional people approved, because your references, they don't call you back in 1 hour. I mean, right. So getting reference check on 3 or 4 different builders can take a little while. Okay, just to be honest with you.
Oh, for sure.
So, but as far as the person qualifying, it's the same qualification from a borrower standpoint. I would say just the time frame to get multiple builders approved or registered is probably going to be the biggest hurdle.
And so basically at that point, we would be providing them with a proposal for the work that we're doing.
Correct.
And then they would need to come with the other written proposals.
3 or 4 other contracts for whatever else is going to be done.
And then y'all just do a rolling total.
Yeah. But and that's different than a lot of construction loans. Most banks aren't going to let 4 different builders be on site.
Right.
Okay. I mean, really.
Oh, we have obstacles from time to time with people wanting to have a different grader or even septic or different utility connections. And the banks are like, well, we'd rather the one builder handle this. So so that's a pretty incredible program that y'all have.
Yeah. And so, again, I think with Barndo, sometimes you guys include septic and grading. Sometimes, like you said, sometimes the borrowers want their brother to do it or whatever the case is. We can get that and we can roll it all into the cost, all into the construction loan. Those hard costs of site prep and septic and that kind of thing.
So if you're out there and you're considering doing a shell build, you do have the opportunity to do this. The difference is you couldn't build half a house and fund it with a loan.
Correct.
Right? You would have to have a strategy to complete the entire home and have numbers and everything to assimilate that contract as a completed product, because you're loaning money on a completed asset. Right.
Yes.
That's going to be mortgaged against the loan.
Yeah. So, and if somebody has cash, from selling their house or whatever, and they want to have you guys come in, build the shell, and just pay cash for the rest of it, no problem. I mean, obviously, we're out of the picture at that point once you guys build the shell and we fund our construction loan, but they can just use their own cash to fund the rest of that project. So there's lots of options. And honestly, the construction loans is even more case by case than even a normal person buying just a regular track built house or a house already existing. It's case by case. And that's why it literally is never too early to have a conversation just to start.
Wait, we're not going to ever see anything easy.
Well aware.
So, all right. Well, that's good. That's good information. So, I mean, we get so many people asking that question. And a lot of times it's just because of the current situation with interest rates and stuff. And they're like, where's the most bang for my buck?
Yeah.
And we do a ton of these shell builds.
Yep.
But typically they're cash customers. So it's nice to know that there is an option to push.
Yeah. It's not a hard stop for financing. If they just want to do a shell build, it's not a hard stop by any stretch. Again, they can just call me or apply or whatever, and we can just have that conversation.
Right. And case by case basis.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, guys, for tuning in to the Barndo Show podcast. If you're watching on YouTube or wherever you're listening to this content, hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And then be sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms at the Barndo Co. Super simple to find us. And then when you're ready to dive in a little more, maybe look around some of our available floor plan options or take a look at the gallery of our work, or maybe you're ready to connect with our team and explore what it looks like to build your dream barndominium, you can visit us online at thebarndoco.com.